Hi, this is Tuhon from LightHaven. We recently hosted a very dear friend of mine, a colleague, a mentor, a teacher. We hosted Tuhon Belton, Kruya Belton, Guru Belton, whatever it is that whatever title it is that you like to give him. But we hosted a really dear friend of mine, Belton Lubas from Seattle, from Warrior Strength Training in Seattle, and we hosted him for a Muay Thai seminar. But it also gave me a really great chance to sit down with a friend I hadn't seen in a very long time. Last time we met was in 2019, I think, or 2018. 2019, I think, actually. And I thought that we would just talk a little bit about the Filipino martial arts, and what started out initially as just one conversation that I wanted to have with him about, again, Filipino martial arts, how he sees the Filipino martial arts, how he sees the weapon arts, that kind of evolved into 4 different videos. There's a video, I'm going to share with you right now, about just his views on the Filipino martial arts, his views on blade culture, how he trains the Filipino martial arts, how he trains the weapon arts. We have a video on creativity, and the effects of creativity within the martial arts, within coaching the martial arts, within training the martial arts. We have a video on empty hand striking and how he approaches it within the Filipino martial arts. And then we have a video on what I would say maybe like mindset, the warrior's mindset, let's say that, as a lack of a better word. So I'm really excited to share these 4 videos with you guys, and I do hope that you guys enjoy them. And thank you again so much, Kruya Belton, Tuhon Belton, Guru Belton, for again coming to India, visiting my school, sharing your knowledge with us, just being that older brother to me as well. And thank you guys so much also for your support, and I hope you enjoy this video. We're gonna try and get through this without laughing, but thank you for doing this. We were talking a lot of shit before this started. There's a lot I want to ask you. We've obviously known each other for a while now, almost over a decade, I think, 2013 or 14 or something. And in that time, I have known you as many things, as a friend, as a training partner, as a teacher, as a guide in many ways. But I've also been following your journey very closely. And I think of all the people out there, of all the Tuhons, of all the people out there, I think you might be one of the best placed people to give me a overarching / comprehensive definition of what is Filipino martial arts.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just have to take all the praise in. So the best person to give the best definition of Filipino martial arts. That's a compliment.
Just because you do so much, you know.
Yeah, you know, FMA. So Filipino martial arts, other than it coming from Philippines, there's been a lot of largely influences from surrounding areas. You have Indonesian influences, Malay influences. You have even some influences like through modern East, where some of the more popular martial arts that infused into the Philippines, like judo and taekwondo, karate, all those stuff that were there. I think Filipinos, if I describe Filipino martial arts, it's an adaptation of efficiency for weapon arts. Because if you look at the Filipino lifestyle, they tease the Filipinos saying, oh, they're like the black culture of Asia. Why are they some of the best hip hop dancers around?
Yeah.
A culture that other cultures of color, of ethnicity, also have drums and beats and rhythm and timing. India, Bollywood, a lot of dances, etc. So why Filipinos? They've infused foods and made it their own. They've taken singing, dancing, arts, and they excelled it. I mean, come on, the lead singer of Journey is Filipino. I mean, there's so some of the best singers out there are Filipino, and it makes me proud of seeing that. But not that I haven't noticed other cultures too, like Koreans and their K-pop and their dancing and their hip hop and all that stuff. So if you look at Filipino martial arts and you look at other arts, combat arts, weapon arts, what did the Filipinos do? And they, traveling a person or a situation where they go, ooh, I like this move. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take that. It goes to Dr. Kelly's mantra of saying that he got from Professor Amy, find the art within your art, or make it your own. So I think Filipinos made it their own. And somewhere down the line, through these intermingling of families, family systems, there was a lot of sharing. And I think Filipinos is a culture of sharing. As much as we say it's a protective art, Oh, that's my family system. Let's be real. Some of the drama and the problems caused within arts, not just in FMA, it's not the teachers, it's the students. These old men got together. Yes, they had problems, but it's never really them. It's like the rare occasion, if you watch them interact with each other, they're just
Yeah.
like what we're doing now.
Yeah.
But let's say my student comes to your school and Muay Thai and then kind of runs into your Muay Thai student,
Yeah.
but it's my senior guy. Suddenly there's a rift between,
Yeah.
let's say you're the future, you're Ajahn Aditya and I'm Ajahn Belton and our students, and then suddenly there's this rift. So if we're going back to the culture of sharing and culture of modifying of efficiency and movement, I think that's what Filipino martial arts is, finding a way to express or to find, to protect one's family and land in a martial art that they saw something, ooh, I like that, I like that, I like that. Bruce Lee was the best stealer of them all. I mean, he trained with a lot of different arts and kind of made it his own, right? So I think Filipino martial arts is the JKD weapon arts. It's a
Nice.
philosophy.
Yeah.
So that's the best way to describe
Yeah.
it, because you're right. Having done many martial arts, you see movement in general transpire across a movement, right?
Yeah.
Movement is just movement. So you can name it what you want. You can call this an angle this, I can call it angle that, but in the end of the day, it's just movement. Deal with the angle
Yeah.
and find the best path to efficiency, whether you use a PTK philosophy, kill in 3, get it done in 3 seconds, or you take a Balintawak philosophy, a defend and counter really fast. That could be 3 beats. So which is right? I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's Filipino martial
I mean,
arts.
that kind of leads into my next question, because for the people who maybe don't know, the reason I said that you're one of the best people to ask about this is because you have so much experience in so many different Filipino martial arts. There's NSI, there's modern arnis, there's Balintawak, there's Pikiti, there's so much, some silat that you've done, so much other stuff that you've done. There are other people who have also, like, I know Tuhon Phil has practiced a lot, of course Daniel Santo, of course Tuhon Kanish. There are many people who have trained different who have a really broad range of knowledge in Filipino martial arts. But I think one thing that sets you a little bit apart is that you are Filipino. And that kind of leads into my next question, in that the Filipinos often talk about blade culture. What is blade culture to you? And I have like sticks and training knives here if you want to show anything based on that. But like, what is blade culture to you? So we had to move locations, but we were talking about what, in your opinion, as a Filipino who practices so many different Filipino martial arts, what in your opinion is blade culture? Because it's very synonymous with the Filipino martial arts.
Yes, and like said before we got interrupted, I've known blade cultures. I actually trained Sikh people who part of what they have in their culture is they carry a blade. But I can tell you the amount of time they actually use the blade is far, far and few. So that's a blade culture, but where is their culture in the blade? It's just part of their culture, part of their belief system. So I think that we need to kind of emphasize that a little bit differently, if not change the way we look at that perspective. You can say blade system, blade culture. Okay, so, oh, blade, everyone carries a blade. I know a lot of South Africans that are blade culture. They stab people because that's a blade culture. There's look at a weapon system, right? Maybe back in the day, it all was long range weapons, spears. Okay, they're not even projectiles yet, spears, right? And then you got your knife, your swords, your knife. Then the panantukan, or the empty hand, basically the combative portions where you don't have a weapon, but it's still weapon-based arts. You look at movement, again, like in some of these throws, like in some of the Asian arts, actually the throws and whatnot still have elements of their weapon in the throw. And so I think we get a little too romanticized when we say blade culture. Oh, Philippines, you walk by, they can stab you, blah, blah. So, teenagers and little kids that stab you in South Africa. Actually, do you have a blade on you?
Not right now.
Oh.
I have a training knife.
A training knife, yeah. You can bust out a training knife. We interrupt this program for some. Just kidding.
To arm ourselves with wooden knives.
So I was told this, but if I'm in Africa and you give me this as a kid, so you give me the knife? that's how they would hold it. That's a blade culture. They don't hold it like this. Because according to Piper founder Nigel February, every kid knows this is how you stab. So, yet we teach, if we did Sabayan sitting down, right? You know, we teach it this way, right? Sometimes, you know, we can change it up and we can change the grip, right? Boom. Boom. Okay, so anyway, since we learned this way and this way, but if you look at a blade culture, why do those guys start like this? So I think we just need to like slow down a bit and really look at what is Philippine martial arts again. Go back to the original. You teach a system with blade, empty hand, and again, Filipinos just did it, made it better, and or adapted it. So this might raise a little bit of issues, and people see this interview and like, oh no, it's a blade culture. Hey, I get it, man. You're not the only culture that has blades. Why don't you open your mind up a bit and look at other cultures that have blades?
Yeah.
A lot of cultures have blades. It's the history of man as far as weapon arts.
Yeah.
So again, jaguar, spear, you know, sword, and then came projectiles, then came, you know, from bow and arrow, then guns and whatnot. So, and then your secondary blade, your long blade, your secondary blade, espada daga. But really the secondary blade was there for like what, seppuku, if anything, or a backup. But then your backup too was with armor. They were trained a certain way on how to stab, and they also trained the empty hand version, like the throws and the grappling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You look at judo, then you look at, so we can keep on and on and on, but my definition of blade culture still goes back to the original definition of the Filipino culture in general. Like, we take something, we highly adapt to it, and kind of make it their own. So, I think you know, Guru Dan talks about what boxing in the Navy, and some of the Filipinos who are really some of the pioneers in boxing. Have you ever heard him tell those stories? Yeah. So some of the pioneers in boxing was Filipino boxing, and why it went from this type of boxing to, oh, here you go, this type of boxing to here.
Yeah.
And if you think about that, maybe that has something to do with blade culture, because those are knives, right? So, you know, I don't think, I think you'd have to really go back to historical evidence, 1, 2, but then you talk to people from the Philippines and you talk to family systems. Everybody's gonna tell you a different story, man. And I think, yes, Philippines is one of many blade cultures.
Yeah.
But name a culture that doesn't have blade.
I guess why for me it kind of sticks out is because, like you said, the Sikhs kind of came out of an already established blade culture in India. Whatever we have left is now, I mean, again, this is going to be controversial, but whatever we have left is now heavily kind of dramatized, and it's kind of for demonstration purposes mostly. The application of it is kind of lost. And before I got to the Philippines, I had I had glimpses of Indian martial arts. I had 6, 7, 8 years of Japanese swordsmanship. I had done a little bit of Chinese swordsmanship, and I kept hearing this term, the same way that you use the blade is the same way that you use the empty hand. But I never saw it done until I got to the Philippines, and I kind of that's always kind of struck me, because the bladed hand, bladed culture, the importance of the blade that it still holds in the Philippines. Where in India, it does to some extent, but we've lost a lot of that identity. It was kind of wiped out. But in the Philippines, it's still maintained to a large degree.
And why do you think that is so?
Well, one is a lot of things got destroyed when the British came, colonialization, imperialism, a lot of stuff got destroyed. I think unfortunately, a large chunk of our warrior culture was tied very deeply into the caste system.
And why do you think Philippines maintained that?
I don't know. I think, I mean, definitely because they were fighting for so long.
Okay,
They fought the Spanish.
So now we're looking at pressure-tested systems.
Yeah.
And how evolution of martial arts happens when you have a pressure test.
Yeah.
And when I say pressure test, not like the stuff you see in social media now.
Yeah.
Oh, you pressure test that move, bro? Oh my gosh, dude. Every time that's been said is so stupid. I'll say, whatever, dude. It's so... Don't even get me started with that. It's a martial art, man. So we love martial arts. Sometimes we teach these moves, I got a lot of slack. And there's pioneers out there in the social media world that are pressure testing or calling out those, and I get that, man, but there's so many haters on the social media world that,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, bro, I just do that to you.
Yeah.
Come out, live in a third world country, see what happens. But going back to the pressure testing, so when you have those many years
Yeah.
of pressure testing, and I mean, again, culturally too, because Philippines was the number one in the world for political assassinations at one point of any country,
Yeah.
political assassinations. And so, if you're gonna assassinate somebody, sometimes a blade's the best way to do
Yeah.
that. When you have farming tools, working tools, that later on became
Yeah.
weapons.
Yeah.
Some of these development of these weapons, the empty hand. You're right. I think when it goes back to the empty hand and the connection between the empty hand and the blade, as far as seeing some of the other systems that may or may not have it. The Indonesians have it.
Yeah.
You can see it a lot in their jurus and their silat, things like that. So again, if you look at geographically and you start tightening it down, you can see kind of where the influences stayed. But what did I say earlier in the interview? Filipinos kind of do it better.
Yeah.
And no knock against any culture out there. I mean, come on. Why are we taking hip hop and dance moves
Yeah.
and doing it more so than the founding groups of people
Yeah.
that claim hip hop as their
Yeah.
own? So yes, and then later on we're embraced as like great dancers and great hip hop
Yeah.
artists. That makes sense. So
Yeah.
it goes back to that. So yes, it may have influences of Indonesian, Malay, this, that, and the other, but Filipinos found a way
Yeah.
to take this.
You want a knife?
No, it's okay. Oh yeah, give me one knife. Yep. To take away for whether that's the punch comes, that's a gunting to a punch, right? So whatever connection and whoever made that connection, and you got there's information out there in founding fathers of Panantukan and things like that. Either way, you're gonna lose a weapon.
Yeah.
Unlike some systems where they carry more weapons to train with, and that's fine. That's actually a great idea. And some Filipino practitioners say, I always have 3 knives on me. I know dangerous knife practitioners that carry no knives, if barely one.
Yeah.
Personally know them, and I've seen their knife work. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I don't really carry a knife. I'm like, oh, why is that? Because I'm actually scared I will use it.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, that's pretty bold,
Yeah.
So if you're moving, right, and you move your hands, and if this is just an extension of my hand, if I do that and I come here and I stab, same thing if I go here, then I punch, back fist, whatever. So I just want to create that efficiency and not ever untrain myself, right? So
Yeah.
that's I mean, that could be wrong, it could be
Yeah.
right. I mean, that's kind of the way I see it, and then you look at some systems that prefer that they talk about training with a stick because they're hiding their training
With
with
sword,
with a stick that it's really a blade.
Yeah.
And then they said, that's kind of cool, stick, impact weapon. I don't know, man. If I had somebody with a knife and I was running across them, I think I'd actually prefer a rattan stick. If you came at me with a knife and I had to choose between another knife and a rattan stick, I'd
Yeah.
probably choose a rattan stick. Straight up, I'll just whack that knife out of your hand and whack you in the head. Have the longer reach and extension and faster traveling velocity of the stick. So then that's impact. So I'm not saying stick is better, impact's better than blade. It's still bladed because I still train that way. But if I can hit you fast,
Yeah.
I'd rather do that.
Yeah.
So that speed, which probably goes into what you brought up earlier about the different arts.
Yeah.
That's
I
where
was just gonna say.
a Blitzwalk comes in. Speed, defense and counter,
Yeah.
reaction. Jim Bobby always says, I'm not training you how to fight. So why would a grandmaster tell that publicly? I'm not training you how to fight. I'm training your reactions in a fight to make you efficient and faster. So that speed has become a thing that my reaction time and speed and defense and counter has increased. That improves my Muay Thai. That improves my Muay Thai and improves even my BJJ. It improves, again, this whole JKD and this philosophy of make it your own and attack by draw, or all these things that these philosophies and the overall umbrella of martial arts. To me, I just see it all as one now. I still practice each one separately, differently, right? You got your PTK, which you'll see a little foot, the footwork, and then the the concepts of PTK, you know, bisecting the line, etc., things like that. Some of the ways I pick up the stick with the spine of the blade or the backside of a machete, things like that. NSI, with the modern Aranese, has also very close relationship to Balintawak, you know, because Professor Impress is also trained Balintawak. So there's a hand trapping, the live hand, the double stick, single stick, the C-bot, which also PTK has C-bot too. Then you're starting to see,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, I know, can I tell the difference? The difference with my quote-unquote modernese, it's not even, it's even beyond that at this point. Dr. Kelly took modernese and he created his own system. He just called it NSI, Natural Spirit International, or Word in Defense, for more the combative aspect of the military and LEO. That's where I think, you know, my foot trapping, what Dr. Kelly did for me is he took my brain and he broke down the barriers of putting walls around systems. And he opened up the door in my eye for me to say, that's all the same thing. Find the art within your art. You know, isn't that just this? Isn't that Anya one? Isn't that just punch, brush, grab, strike? But what is that? If you look at that, isn't that a PTK move too?
Sinawali, yeah.
What is that called?
Sinawali.
Sinawali, right?
Yeah.
Or, you know, you got your brush, grab, strike.
Same thing on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hubad, lubad, and you start just, okay, all I have to do is take care of the attack, check it, pick it up. Oh, there's another attack. Just pick it up, boom, another attack. Maybe same time, right? You know? So then I start just moving a certain way. My brain starts unlocking. I start stepping in your feet. My foot trapping is there. And then you're standing grappling. And then you're boxing. So NSI would be the one that has kind of freed my brain. PTK has a little bit, has kept me into this traditional classical lines of footwork and also some of the angles of a blade. Balintawak increase speed and reflexes and corto, but even the largo range and the power striking sequences and my medial corto range has increased tremendously. The BJJ, the grappling, the kinesthetic awareness of when a punch comes. I have arm drags. Here's an arm drag. Here's brace. Here's your wrist locks, and I just realized that I can put my hands on you, and now I know where you're at. But then I can also take that and go into some of these flow patterns, BJJ, the Muay Thai. So then I can go again empty hand, right? I can go with my elbows, which if you look at that again, that's also still within
Edge
FMA.
blade, yeah.
So once I came to that realization and accepted that in my brain, the world even opened up. It's like you leveled up.
Yeah.
I notice every time a doctor gets his hands on a black belt, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th degree, it's like they're just jaw dropping. They're like,
Yeah.
I can't believe I was discarding that move this whole time.
Yeah.
I see it now. Isn't that just knife hand position? Well, that's a strip, right? If that's a blade, and it comes here, that's just a strip. But it's the same movement as that, or it's a knife hand here, or again, nope. So stab comes, or boom, I pick it up, and isn't this same thing? This is my knife hand, right? And then you got your locks and your flows, which he picks it up, and stuff like that. So, and I go through seasons. So coming here, I'm in a Muay Thai mode, right? But have you noticed? Look at my social media feeds. Balintawak has been popping up a lot. It's because camp came up,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to Philippines to Cebu. Now, there's obviously other PTK events coming up, possibly that I might be going to, and so you'll see some of my PTK start coming up again. But I always embed that in, and you'll see it in some of my fights.
Yeah.
In YouTube, on the stick fights.
Yeah.
Yep.
I guess the reason why I'm really generally quite curious about your different, not just FMA stuff that you train, but also the BJJ and the Muay Thai, is that, for example, when I came to the Philippines for the first time and I trained in PTK, I had almost no experience in PTK. And I had a lot of experience in other martial arts before that. But when I started training, I had to stop training everything else for 3 years and just focus on the weapons because I couldn't make everything fit. Like for me, PTK required, or weapons required a different sensibility of distance, a different sensibility of timing, a different sensibility of reaction, where to parry, where to jam, how to coordinate the arms, how to coordinate the legs and the arms and the body, and there's just so much. It was like a whole other like type of maths, and the two weren't mixing. I remember when I first came to Seattle, it was I had come to train BJJ because I could not make the PTK Dumog work for me. I didn't have the sensitivity, and I was just smaller than everybody else, and I just wasn't. And I remember that's when I got in touch with you, and I was like, hey, can you help me with this? Because I knew that you also had done these things. And then you reintroduced me to Muay Thai, and also gave me my first look at Brinthwak, and I did a little bit of NSI with you as well. And training with you was the first time I actually had that experience of, whoa, everything is connected. And then
that's one of Doc's mantras: connect the systems.
yeah. Did you ever have a moment where you were like, this is not making sense? Everything is not making sense together. Or were you just like, were you already at that point where everything just expresses itself freely through you?
That's actually a really good question. I think when I came, remember before the other arts, I had Dr. Kelly, so he already unlocked that part of my brain. So as I started going to the other arts, I would learn how to keep it traditionally in that system without offending that person who was teaching me, and I absorbed the movement. So I started analyzing movement. I stopped getting caught up in, oh my gosh, the style.
Yeah.
The style came because I just focused on. I'm like, and then the grandmasters would correct me with just the energy of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the style; it was just more. That's
Like the
Balenciaga.
flavor. The flavor of
Yes.
Brinthwak,
So
yeah.
they would just spice it up a little
Yeah.
bit more and tell me, add this. So when I flow from Balenciaga
Yeah.
to PTK, my style will change. But if you ask me to fight, that's different.
Because
That's
I remember,
me.
yeah, I've seen you fight a lot now. I've seen a lot of stick fights of yours in person, and I almost every time you'd get a throw in, you'd work to get a throw in. Almost every fight that I've seen, and it's very often a judo entry. But you will bridge that gap because PTK stick fighting is generally long range, and you'll bridge that gap and then a head and arm throw or a shoulder throw or a trip or something else. So for me, that's what you don't just speak about expressing or mixing the arts. When you fight, that expression comes. You can see it. And I've seen also. I haven't seen your Brinthwak tests in person, but I've obviously seen them online and stuff. And I've seen. I remember when you were doing your FQI test and you'd come up with your own techniques. And I remember you mixing in judo and BJJ into a lot of that stuff as well.
Well, I was told to, because
yeah.
GM Bobby respected the fact that I was a multi-art practitioner.
Yeah.
And he says, show me your PTK, show me your NSI, and show me your Muay Thai, show me your BJJ. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And I think that next level, that level up, was Datu opened my mind. Jim Bobby telling me during my FQI test,
Yeah.
telling me to express myself.
Yeah.
I had to explore. You come up with 24 techniques,
Yeah.
and he wants your 24 original. I was like, well, who am I? Who is Belton? Who is the future Guru Belton and the future FQI? And so I had to express everything about me. So I showed entries, and the more I kept exploring him,
Yeah.
I started learning that I didn't like that move. So I came up with 24 techniques like that. I mean,
Yeah, I
it's not
remember
that
this,
hard.
yeah.
And when I was told to wait a year because it was too soon, because I came up with it too fast, I said, okay, I will. But all I found out was for every one technique, I had 3 more
Yeah.
variations. Sometimes I think martial artists don't self-explore themselves enough. They don't pressure test themselves.
Yeah.
They don't put themselves into a position where they're humbling their own selves, or even having somebody else humbling them.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, that would never work on me. I'm like, okay, cool. What about this? Boom. Hey, what about, I can feel this energy, because
Yeah.
I can do the same move on you, and the second person, the third person, and my move will change, all because of the way you move.
Yeah.
Even though I'm like, hey, I'm going to do this for my test. I want you to move like this.
Yeah.
Guess who I trained with? Josh Rogers. That's a big body.
Yeah, I remember.
Then I had, then you have another person, Sean Shui. That's a different body.
Yeah.
And you have this person who's just a short, fast, quick. You have the aerial, and so you're like, dude, the same move won't work for all 3.
Yeah.
So the adaptability and that creativity, this also comes back, and this is where it goes back to a little bit deeper in what makes me me, my dance background and my musical background. So
Yeah.
timing, rhythm, choreography, and seeing movement and to the minute detail where I can make those adjustments, you can't train that.
Yeah.
You have to have experiences, past experiences, and if we talk about neurology-based type training, these are past experiences coming into play, and they're intermingling into what made me who I am.
Yeah.
So, how do you get that? I mean, you can't live my life. This is my life.
Yeah.
So I would say you'd have to introspectively be honest with yourself, look within yourself, and find out what do you want out of the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
If you want to stay true to PTK, true to Balintawak, true to NSI, true to BJJ, true to
Yeah.
Muay Thai, so be it. Good for you.
Yeah.
But understand, if you're going to level up in Muay Thai, even BJJ, start looking at Mongolian wrestling. Look at
Yeah.
Greco. Look at some of the guard that's being played nowadays, and then go, well, I'm not 6'2" with long lanky
Yeah.
legs and I can throw my knees behind my head. I'm 5'6" and about 180 pounds. Well, how can I make this my own? And start exploring. Pretty soon, your inventive thought process, then you start realizing you're creating another system within itself.
Yeah.
Not that you're going to call it Belton BJJ.
Yeah.
But here's another thing too. I just love coaching. Having an eye for fighters and seeing and coaching
Problem solving for them.
problem solving for them. Again, not everybody's built to be a coach, but there's something special about in the moment making adjustments in a combat mode and making those. I have 1 minute to talk to you.
Yeah.
D, that person's heavy left foot. You did this, and also he tends to yada 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 yada.
Yeah.
And making that adjustment and winning a match, that has leveled my vision way much more, and I start seeing patterns.
Yeah. I mean,
So I can't give you that. You got
Yeah.
unless you're all gonna go dance, play a musical instrument, and coach.
Yeah.
And then do all of the arts that I do.
yeah.
Maybe you can
for
be
30
me.
years.
Yeah, for 30
we
years.
have class now, but I really just feel like we have just begun to talk a lot of this about the stuff that I want to talk about, and I mean, I'm hoping to be able to do this with you again before you go. I want to talk to you about, because you brought up a lot of stuff. You brought up your growth when you were forced to be creative. So I want to talk about creativity in the martial arts to level you up. I want to talk about how you mix your Muay Thai empty hands specifically with your weapons, because I can see how you would mix wrestling, judo, jiu-jitsu with weapons and how it's traditionally done. But there seems to be oftentimes this gap in the weapon arts when it comes to effective striking. So I want to talk about that. And then I also want to talk about coaching fighters and the fighter's mindset and the competitive mindset. So there's a lot. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that I'll get to do this with you again before you go. Maybe we can have a separate session for each of these topics.
That's fine.
But till then, yeah, we got class. Thank you for sitting down with me and